Hey everybody, welcome to the Cheerful Ghost Roundtable. Cheerful Ghost Roundtable is an open discussion with people from the Cheerful Ghost community about awesome stuff in video games, brought to you by cheerfulghost.com. And as you can see, this is the largest roundtable host count we've ever had at 2. Just kidding. It's we're down a couple people, which is totally fine. Travis is out, White Boy Slim is out, Tim is out. So this one we're just gonna be scripting myself. So all right, let's jump right in. So first things first, there's a new Star Wars movie coming out this year, if you didn't know. And if you didn't know, shame on you, but there is. Star Wars Rogue One. It's the first non-Skywalker story that Star Wars is going to do, except for maybe the Ewok movies, I guess. Anyways, which are amazing and you should watch. Did you see the Ewok movies when you were a kid?
No.
In the 80s? Oh, there's...
Were they movies or cartoons?
So, okay, so they were like made-for-TV movies, and it really shows when you watch them. I loved them when I was a kid, though. I've got them. They're super.
Yeah, no. I think I saw a commercial once for, or not even like back in the day, like on YouTube. It was it a Christmas special or something?
Well, that's the holiday special, but that's got Luke Skywalker in it, so I would consider it part of the Skywalker. Yeah, I mean, he's in it for a second, you know, or
like Mark
a couple
Hamill?
minutes.
Luke Skywalker?
For sure, absolutely. Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher are in the holiday special, absolutely. And since it's the holidays, you should watch it, but it's terrible.
Was it actually them, or was it clips from the movie?
No, I'm serious. It's okay. So for people that don't know, the Star Wars holiday special was made somewhere between, I believe, A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. Okay, so it doesn't feature, but it has cameo appearances by Han Solo. Harrison Ford as Han Solo, Chewbacca, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, C-3PO, R2-D2. I believe Darth Vader's in it. I think he's in it. Anyways, but the main characters aren't those people. It's Chewbacca's family, and it's not even Chewbacca, and it's in their house, and it's a horror show. So watch it drunk or with friends that you like to make fun of movies, because it's really bad.
That sounds awesome.
If really bad movies you think are awesome, one Christmas, or maybe it was New Year's, I can't remember, we played it, and my friends were there, and we riffed it, but it was really bad. But bad, I don't know, it's not really bad good, it's just mostly bad. But yeah, that exists. So anyways, our Star Wars Rogue One review is going to be for the next roundtable. Check the site. We will talk more about when that is happening. So we're going to go right into it. Script, what you've been watching and what have you been playing?
I have been watching more movies lately. There was a TV show that I was watching, Westworld. I'm watching Westworld, and it's fucking amazing. Westworld.
Heard really good things about that.
Oh man, it's I'm not current. I haven't seen this Sunday's episode yesterday, but I heard it was a doozy, and it is it's everything you'd want in a AI mystery robotic take over the world kind of. Sam Waterston should have done the trailers for it. It's good. It's good stuff. I saw Arrival in the theaters, and I thought it was really good. I thought it was.
Heard it's one of the best sci-fi movies ever made already. Like, I've heard it's that on the level of some of the best ever made.
I guess, and see, I feel stupid because after I left the theater, I was like, on a maturity level, it's the way you want every sci-fi movie to be treated, because it was really, really dense sci-fi with a really big heart. There was a huge human element to it, and that's what you want. You want your sci-fi to be treated seriously, and it was. And they had some pretty deep concepts on communication and linguistics, and how to communicate with aliens that come and you don't know what they're doing, and then how that correlates to communication between tribal humans. I mean, the US and China have different perspectives on what certain actions mean, and so in order to avoid catastrophe, you have to communicate things properly. they played with, and you've seen it? Have you seen it?
I have not seen it yet, but I really want to. Yeah,
okay.
No, it's definitely on my list. It's just that with the kiddo, we've only had limited movies we can go see. So we saw Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and that was terrible. And I'll talk about that later, but I wish I'd seen Arrival instead, honestly.
See, and there's, I won't go into any detail, but there's a core facet to the Arrival story that that deals with a very paradoxical sci-fi concept that I took a little bit of issue with, and so I'm not going to give any spoilers. So maybe next episode we can talk about it if more people have seen it. But I don't want to go into it. But I felt like there were some things that were hinted at, but not developed, or not kind of just. Well, I can't talk about it without spoiling it. So I was bummed. I was a little bummed when I left the theater because I wanted things to play out a little differently.
So it sounds like there's a bit of mystery though in the movie. So
you have to see it. You have to see it.
I will.
But,
I will.
No, you will, and we'll talk about it later. As far as what I've been playing, Destiny, sadly.
Well, man, you're still at Destiny. I really
came back.
Sort of revere your commitment. I revere that commitment.
Yeah, I know. Well, I came back, and the new stuff is actually decent, and it's not.
That's good.
Really, I don't know. It's not really worth the money, but again, all my friends are playing it, so that's what I was playing.
Yeah, you have that initial investment on it, so it's good that you can come back to it.
Yeah. Rocket League, always come back to Rocket League. And then aside from that, just painting up a Storm and drawing and painting.
Yeah, people should follow you on Twitter and your blog. You're quite prolific there, and it's really interesting stuff. So, what's your Twitter again? Where are you on Twitter?
Very kind of you to say. Yeah, it's I think it's at Subverity.
Yeah.
SUBVERITY. But yeah, thanks. No, it's been good. It's been good. I've been kind of trying to spread out a little, do a little bit of networking, and it's been good. And so it's hard as hell to learn, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's learning stuff can be that way for sure. All right, so I have been watching MST3K Turkey Day. So Mystery Science Theater 3000 is my most favorite show of all time. It's not really shocking there. And every year they do a Turkey Day stream on Thanksgiving, and that's been something I've been doing, as a tradition for a while because I'm not into sports ball or whatever. So this year was really cool because it's the Turkey Day stream before the new season's going to come out next year. I've heard it's going to be March. It's going to be on Netflix. And I took part in the Kickstarter for that. Anyways, that was the top 6 fan-voted shows. Of course, number 1, Manos, Hands of Fate. Of course. Number 2 was, what was it? Spaceship Mutiny, Starship Mutiny or whatever, Mutiny Spaceship or whatever. Anyways, it was a really, really amazing stream. It's got pod people in there. Puma Man. Oh my God, Puma Man. Puma Man was the first episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000 that my wife could actually watch because the movie was so fun. So, and she was riffing it at the same time. It was fun. It was really good. We had a good time. So that was really great. It's fun to watch that and kind of tweet online with all the other MST3K nerds, which they're like the nerdiest of the nerds. I love Misties. They're great. So I also saw Stranger Things on Netflix. Finally, I finished that. Okay, so things I've heard about Stranger Things on Netflix is it's amazing, best thing ever. Bow down, worship, have its children. It's really good, but I would say that I was expecting digital, I was expecting nostalgic perfection, and what I got was a pretty good show actually. It's got some issues, I think. It's not perfect, but I would say that it's really good. Some really good things about the show. The kid actors are pretty interesting. I thought that they kept it pretty simple, which is good. I think keeping it simple is actually a really good thing. I really love the music. I think the music, they nailed it. Sort of a John Carpenter, Tangerine Dream vibe, which is incredible. Like the best kind of 80s music that I love from 80s movies, unless we're talking about like John Hughes scores or whatever, which are just amazing, like pop samplers from the 80s or whatever. But no, it's really good, and I recommend it. If you have Netflix, check it out. It's a little creepy in the first couple episodes, more than I thought. I did not know that it was going to have such a horror-esque vibe to it, which is something to consider, but it's not too crazy. But it's something to consider. Anyways, it's really good. If you have Netflix, I'd definitely check it out. And I have a negative review for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I think my first reaction to that movie was that it was a baffling horror show. And I love Harry Potter. We went to Harry Potter. We took a special vacation to go to Harry Potter Land in Florida. I've got magic wands. I'm in Ravenclaw. Like I've got like Harry Potter mugs and stuff. So I'm a pretty big Harry Potter fan. We were really, really excited to watch the new Harry Potter movie. I don't really know. And apparently there's going to be 5 more of these movies. Wow, this movie was not something I liked at all. First off, it was way too dark. Why does it have to be dark? I kind of enjoy movies that are kind of fun and a world that I want to exist in. And it's like kind of like Star Wars. You know, it's kind of a world that you could sort of like a young John Dotson could daydream that he could be a smuggler in this universe, and not that it's some dystopian wasteland, nightmarish, and nowhere you'd ever want to be. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like the world of Fantastic Beasts. It just doesn't seem cool. The New York world of that time doesn't seem fun. The main character is the cause of almost all the problems in the movie. The first part of it is trying to get beasts, and it's the invention they use that he has to go get them isn't particularly enjoyable. Anyways, the movie, it has like, people beating kids. I felt that it was tonally just way too hardcore for a Harry Potter movie or something that I even wanted to watch. Let's talk about some positives though, because it wasn't all bad.
Maybe it was just it could be just the trend of, because the last few Harry Potter movies were pretty dark.
Yes, but you had that curve, right? You had the first movie, which was a lighthearted romp through Hogwarts with some darkness towards the end, but it was a world you wanted to live in. You wanted to hang out with Harry Potter. I don't really want to hang out with Newt. I don't really want to hang out with his friends. I don't really want to be in that world. I don't want to be a wizard there. It seems like, the wizarding community that doesn't understand, like they're just really unthinking. They just kill things. They don't really consider it. The government sucks. It's like, ugh. Anyways, but let's talk about some good things. The guy that plays Newt Scamander, what's his name?
Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne is incredible. He's an incredible actor. Holy shit, Eddie Redmayne is great. His performance, he was acting the shit out of that movie, and he's really good in that role. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. I want to, but I haven't.
Okay. You might like it. In fact, most of my friends really did. Francesca and I did not at all. But Redmayne is really good. And when the beasts are on screen and Eddie Redmayne is just hanging out with the beasts, and they're just hanging out, it's magic. It's incredible. They're so creative with the beasts and what they can do. And if the movie was just like a really good reason to go find them and he's collecting them Pokemon style, going, you know what I mean, through the countryside, you know, kind of a fun-loving adventure, that would be great. But it gets bogged down in this evil stuff that I just don't, it's like they have to ramp up to Voldemort or something. And who cares? Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about you building a franchise. Like, that's what we all need apparently in movies now, franchise or whatever. But some other good things about the movie. It had effects in it. I don't know. There weren't a ton. I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it very much, and I really hope that they kind of change the tone of this. Maybe add some more fun in there. I don't know. Just for me, it just didn't land. But I know a lot of Harry Potter fans loved it. So sorry if my review sort of rubs you the wrong way. What I've been playing recently, of course, is Hearthstone. I've been grinding gold for the next expansion, Mean Streets and Gadgets, and check Cheerful Ghost for more information about that. But I believe this has been the most amount of packs I've opened. I've ground up for now 7,300 gold, so I'll be opening 73 packs right now, and it drops this Thursday, so by then probably 75 packs. I'll be making a video for that, and I'm trying to figure out how that works, but how that'll work and when I'll be filming that, this sort of a pack opening video. But really excited about that. FTL, again, because I'm always going to be playing that game here and there until I'm dead, right? Borderlands 2, it's fun, just continuing with that. And I got Mortal Kombat on the Genesis. So that was a recent pickup I got, and we're going to talk more about holiday pickups we got. But that's a really fun game, Mortal Kombat on the Genesis. It's really good. It's really good.
What are you playing your Genesis on?
So I got a Retron 3, which I'm going to be doing a Cheerful Ghost review of, which the Retron 3 plays NES, Super Nintendo, and Genesis games. And I've been playing it on there. I've got a CRT VCR here with my Retron.
That's what I was
and like that's what I'm playing it on right there.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if you're hooking it up to your 40-inch, 50-inch, 60-inch TV or whatever.
No. I've got like an old TV, and I'll just toss in a VHS tape, which I'm now collecting VHS movies apparently, because that needed to happen. So, which has been really fun, and by the way, really cheap. It's really funny because you go into Goodwill right now, and you're like, I would like to buy these VHS movies, please. And they're like, what? Okay, fine, whatever. So they check you out. And then at the end, they're like, you can't return these. You don't take these back. Like, no one wants VHS movies anymore. No one wants them.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned Goodwill, because my girlfriend went to take a box of old VHS tapes she was trying to get rid of, and they wouldn't even take them. So if you can find VHSs at Goodwill, get them.
You can. You can.
They're not going to stock them anymore.
No, because no one's buying them. So except for John Dotson, he's the only one. And I've got a pretty sweet collection. Maybe I'll show it on Roundtable sometime or whatever. You can see some right up there. You can see there's the Goonies. That's Willy Wonka. Over there that's like that's Vertigo. That's the Hobbit. Anyways, so yeah, I've got a couple. You should set up a separate PO box or something so that people can donate their old VHSs to you. Oh my God, I would love that. Tapes. If you want to donate me VHS, just contact me on the site, and we'll work something out. You can send me your VHS tapes. All right. So the holidays are upon us. It's the time for sales. Apparently, we had a post on the site about sort of where you can get your Black Friday, Cyber Monday video game deals and what people are picking up. But Script, I was curious what you recommend people pick up this holiday, if you saw a really good deal that you recommend people pick up, or something that you play kind of around the holidays that you really enjoy, like a game that just kind of, you just really enjoy playing around ye old Turkey Day and or All Santa's Day.
All Santa's Day. I don't have a traditional holiday game, but around, I don't know what it is, like maybe the fall or around this time of year, I like to play games that are more story driven. So if, like, I just picked up Darksiders 2, the definitive edition on the PS4, because it was on sale for like $6. And I've got it on Steam, but I wanted to play it on the PS4 to see how it translated, and what I'm hoping, because there's been a lot of activity with that series between that game and the first Darksiders, which is going to be, it's been remastered and it's going to be releasing here on the consoles shortly, I believe. I'm hoping that Nordic is ramping up to finally produce a third game in the series sometime. I mean, there's just been a lot of remastering and noodling with those games, and I would like nothing more than to see a third Darksiders, to finally get to the fourth and complete the story of all the horsemen. But anything, I don't know, anything story driven. I haven't looked at a lot of the sales, but it's if you see something that you've been looking for, and it's at a decent price. Don't wait for the day after Christmas or some other freaky sale. Just get it as soon as you can. I just saw, again, like on the PS4, I'm sure it was that way on Steam, but the new Skyrim remastered mega super Nordic edition was $29. It was like $29.99 plus they
ridiculous
were
value for the game, man, for what you get there.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And they were offering an additional 10% off, so it was like $27, which is a steal for that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I dig into the stories this time of year. Cozy up. It gets cold. You can wrap a blanket around yourself. You got a wireless controller, so you can put it under the blanket with you, and then you can just play and have fun.
And if it's on the PlayStation 3, then just point the exhaust fan towards you, because that's going to create so much heat. It'll just warm you.
Yeah, that is.
My PS3 was so loud, it was like a jet engine. I'd be watching a Blu-ray movie and it'd be like on like a really hot day, and it was so loud. It's a good thing I have a really louder sound system because it's so loud.
I just noticed that I've got the chat pulled up in another window. Bean Sandy couldn't find the link, but recalled someone at Nordic saying the series wasn't dead.
Oh,
I hadn't heard that, and I am very glad that you posted that because that makes me very happy. Yeah. So what was the other question you?
Oh no, games that you're picking up around the holidays and games you recommend playing around the holidays.
Yeah. I'm not going to be picking up too many games this year, but that was one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what's coming out before Christmas. There's a couple new systems.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of games, at least that I know. Well, I mean, there's the Hearthstone expansion coming out that I know about, but there isn't really anything dropping that I know of. But yeah,
a couple things got pushed back. Like Last Guardian got pushed back.
That's right. You know, it's funny. I saw a commercial for The Last Guardian at Fantastic Beasts. You know what I mean? Which I was like, oh yeah, that game's coming out sometime in our life. That's crazy. It's like I saw that.
Yeah.
You know, it looks way better than the exact same commercial I'd seen for the game, you know, years before or whatever. So, in terms of holiday gaming recommendations, if you haven't played Borderlands, you need to get him in a sale. Like Greg recently picked them up, and he hadn't played any of them, which is crazy. He picked them up on PC, picked up Borderlands pre-sequel, and then Borderlands 2. So do it. Start with the first one, head your way through. Greg's actually going to do Borderlands, then the pre-sequel, then Borderlands 2. That's not how they were released. So I wonder how that's going to work for him. I hope he writes a review about how that works, because it was, you know, Borderlands 2 came out and then the pre-sequel after that. It's kind of like watching The Phantom Menace and the prequels before the original trilogy. You should never do that. We shouldn't watch the prequels anyway. Well, I mean, you know, you shouldn't watch those anyways. But pick up FTL, and then another thing that you should pick up is StarCraft: The Full Collection. They're finally out now that Legacy of the Void's out. So like, there are a bunch of that's a really good deal. Like, you can get the originals for like $10, and eventually there'll be a battle chest. If you're looking to sit down for an epic series, StarCraft 2, and you like real-time strategy games, you couldn't, you know, go better than that. I recently just finished Nova Covert Ops Pack 3, and that was just great. I want more single player. I've been loving StarCraft since, you know, the 90s when I was a wee lad. So look at things I recently picked up and sort of holiday sales. Another Sega Genesis game I got, NBA Jam. Wow, that game's really fun. It's really great. Something finally came in the mail. I have a Cheerful Ghost post about this, but I finally got the Skyrim soundtrack from Jeremy. He did actually autograph this. I bought this off his website 3 years ago, and it finally arrived. 3 years ago, I had to deal with this tech support nightmare of direct song, and it finally came. So this shouldn't have happened. I shouldn't have got that. I don't know. I finally did. Anyways, I also picked up recently the Warcraft movie. There was also, I also kind of picked this up because it came with like a Hearthstone playable hero character. So, and I was really curious. Like, I was like, okay, is this gonna? Because I heard it was terrible. Like, I heard this was really, really bad. So my expectations were pretty low for it. It came with some Hearthstone stuff, which was kind of neat. And I was, I like collector's boxes, and I felt, well, if it's terrible, it can go on my shelf, and people can be like, oh, you bought that. Anyways, was pretty good, honestly. Thought it was pretty good. It's not terrible. I don't get where those reviews come from. It's not great. I think the most thing it suffers from is some acting that's not very good at times. But it has some really tense moments, and the action is pretty good. I mean, it's dark too. And I would also say maybe one thing too about it, that the ending doesn't have a really amazing resolution. But if you love Warcraft and you're looking for kind of like some Lord of the Rings but more actiony, and it's fun. It's from those reviews come from people. Bean says in the chat that those reviews come from people that aren't familiar with the lore, and I think that's probably true. And he also said that they were expecting more of a traditional film, and I think that's probably true too. I think that the film does have some traditional elements, but I think that you have to have some love for this material, right? I mean, it would kind of be like if you were watching the Lord of the Rings movies, but you didn't give a shit about Middle Earth, I guess. But then again, they were so long. I mean, they took so long to build up those, but I would say maybe Lord of the Rings is better than Warcraft, but it's in the same genre. But it's good. It's really good. I mean, I think it was solid. What do you think? Script, you saw it, right?
Yeah, I did, and I ended up picking it up too. I rented it because I wanted to watch something fantasy, and I was like, it got horrible. The Rotten Tomato reviews are horrible, and so I said, I can't imagine that it would be that bad. And I watched it, and I wasn't I think I was like, I wasn't expecting anything. I wasn't expecting it to be even. I was expecting like the movies he made, those crap
Duncan
movies.
What was it, Jones, right? And he made Source Code, and he made Moon, right?
No, the guy. No, Duncan Jones
he's an amazing director. Moon is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, Source Code's pretty good too. Like, so if you haven't seen Moon, watch it. It's so great. It's got Sam Rockwell in it. Wow, it's fantastic. I love Moon.
Yeah. But Warcraft, it was really well. I thought they handled it really well, and I thought that to Bean's point, with people aren't familiar with the lore, even then the reviews that I read that were on par with that, the people were saying that it was too hard to get into because you had to know the source material, and I don't really. It's not like they introduced so many different races that you had to try to piece together what was going on. It was basically humans and orcs. And if you are at all familiar with fantasy, it's not too hard to wrap your head around what an orc is. And, the way they told the story, I think, was fun. The way that they used effects was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The magic.
Yeah.
The use of magic in that movie is phenomenal. They did a really good job.
On one hand, I would say the magic, like there's this one scene with what is it, Khadgar and Medivh in the forest that's just incredible. That scene is fantastic, where they're just zorching people and stuff. It's so just incredible. On the other hand, there's almost no rules to any of it. So that would be, to me, it was like that scene was just so just kinetic and just so like on the edge of my seat and so incredible and so edgy in a way. However, I didn't get the rules to any of the magic, you know what I mean? And I like sci-fi rules and worlds with rules and stuff like that. But however, like a small point. But I think that like when I was watching it with my wife, she would ask me questions like, who's this? What's happening? What are they talking about? So if you have someone there who can answer those questions for you, because I've been playing Warcraft since Orcs and Humans, I think it would be more enjoyable. She thought it was a little violent. She's like, this is way more violent than Lord of the Rings. So that was probably her thing. It's just like, it was a little too violent for her. But wow, I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. Yeah. Okay, and so the other thing I picked up recently too, in preparation for getting an NES Classic, was Playing with Power.
Whoa.
Which is, I know, crazy that I buy this stuff, but I like collecting this kind of thing anyways. So Playing with Power is released by Nintendo, and basically what it is it's kind of, if you remember Nintendo Power, what they did was they took all the games that come with the NES Classic and they broke it down to like 15, and they basically did like Nintendo Power style guide for the game. So this is Mario Brothers. You don't really need one for that. You don't really need like a walkthrough for that, but you do if you've never played Zelda before, because Zelda, or Metroid. So for instance, here's Metroid. Right? If you play Metroid now, you're going to go through it. Unless you bomb every wall, you're not going to be able to make it through the game that quickly. So what they did was, a la Nintendo Power back in the day, they've created game maps for everything, and
That's
like
cool.
little mini guides for walkthroughs for the entire game. And they've got the same thing for the original Legend of Zelda as well. And it's funny because they took some of the text from the original Nintendo Power, a lot of the art from the original manuals themselves, and they also worked in conjunction with the dude that runs, hold on, it's in the back, NESmaps.com. So a lot of these maps were like used with permission of NES Maps. I bet they paid him. So some person's running NESmaps.com, which is the site for that basically provides maps of all Nintendo games, essentially. And so for $20, I got this at Target, I believe. There's a hardcover online. You can basically have manuals for all the games that you can get with the NES Classic, and just have it kind of there beside you. And again, as someone who collects this, and I've got right back up here my original Nintendo Power manual for Mario 3 that has like tape on the binding, because it just dog-eared that thing so much when I was a kid reading it. I think this is really neat. So I've really been enjoying just kind of reading this, and it's really cool because, again, like a lot of these old Nintendo games, like unless you spend hours bombing every wall, you're not probably going to figure out how to advance in the games, and having this kind of manual is fun. It's fun to have. Or, I mean, of course you can go online and get this too, but I like it.
It seems like it'd be a really cool resource for somebody that's, getting into level design, video games and stuff like that, just to see worlds of Metroid and Zelda and Mario Brothers just all laid out, which, you could probably see on the site that you posted, but to have a whole catalog full of game maps is a neat reference.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like when I was a kid, I would basically just draw my own video games, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I'd have like pages and pages of video games that I was going to make, and a lot of it looks exactly like kind of like how Nintendo Power would lay out a game or whatever. So,
right.
So things that you can't buy for the holidays that you might would be like a $99 new Nintendo 3DS, which was apparently going to be a Black Friday sale, but you couldn't get it anywhere in any store because Nintendo limited stock, and Amazon screwed up the delivery date, so it wasn't Black Friday. It was 2 days before. So if you wanted a Christmas present like a new 3DS, you couldn't get it. So that sucked. Like that was something that I was like, talked to my wife about getting me, and well, first I couldn't find it anywhere, and then it wasn't available on Amazon. And then the NES Classic. So those are two things you can't get, unfortunately. So I guess we'll have this until it releases or something. I don't know. I don't know. I know. I'm so upset. ROMs, what are those? Legally, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right. All right. So the No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is a recent AAA open world game in space with spaceships and space guns.
Is it AAA?
Oh, it's triple. I'd say so. It's triple indie. How about that? Triple indie.
All right.
Triple
That's
indie.
fair.
It's big, man. It's a $60 game. What do you think? I mean, that when you charge $60 for your game, it's triple something.
I don't know. Yeah.
No, dude, you don't charge $60 for your game if it ain't triple something. Anyways,
I guess.
No Man's Sky recently coming out with the Foundation Update script.
Yeah.
How is it?
Yes. It is very good. It is very, very good. It is file size wise, it's I think it's 2.7 gigs. The entire game, I believe, is just over 5 gigs. So this update is half the size of the original game. A lot of content, a lot of improvements. Initially, if you have the game and you're downloading the update and you want to know what you're getting into, you'll notice a big graphical bump. New textures, load-ins are extremely improved. The draw distance seems to be much greater. Volumetric clouds. There's cloud systems on the planets. They added a motion blur, which it feels good. I read on our site that on Cheerful Ghost that some people said that traditionally motion blur is kind of a turnoff. Travis mentioned it and Greg mentioned it, that they said it actually, they like it in this update, and I think it looks really well as well. Content wise, they've added base building, which is really cool. Base building and freighter. I guess it's like you basically hire a frigate, a transport ship that follows you around the universe. I don't know. I haven't purchased one yet. So what they do, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold, so my throat's dry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'll fill the airtime.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
But just started building a base today, and it's pretty cool. It's very much like, well, the only thing that I can really relate it to was when I used to build maps in the Forge on Halo Reach. And you've got predetermined modules. Maybe it's similar to the way you build levels in Doom. I don't know. Predetermined modules that snap together, and you create the layout of your base. It's pretty simple tool set. You can hire aliens to come populate your station as employees that fill roles like engineering and scientists and weapons quartermaster.
Oh wow, I didn't know you could do that. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And I don't know, it's not, I think that what they've added is probably certainly not enough to stifle the craziness of disappointment that followed the game's initial release. But I think that for people that are still with it, that are still with the game, that enjoy the game for what it is, this will be a huge welcome to the play. And for anybody that's looking at getting into the game, and I believe it's on sale right now, it's like $39 or something.
Yep. Yes, it's a really nice discount.
It's definitely more substantial. The experience is more substantial. A lot more stuff to do, stuff to see. Planet, the algorithm, I guess they updated the algorithms for planet creation or species, the creature creation and everything. So the the actual universe was updated. They reloaded everything. So I think that if you start the game again, you can get back to right where you were, as far as everything that you've collected and everything that you were doing, but you might not spawn in where you left off. You might be spawned in the nearest space station. The planets look a lot more, I guess, realistic, not quite so fantastically cratered, or all the screenshots that I have of the previous release, there were enormous amounts of spiky terrain and big valleys and mountains and everything, and very little in just just what you would expect a normal planet to look like, and,
right.
and you see more
because
of
of
that
the
now.
randomization algorithm
Right.
they use. You get that kind of weird stuff that takes off in strange directions that wouldn't kind of be how it is.
Yeah, which keeping in line with their whole design theme of doing 1970s sci-fi book covers, it fits. The new system, though, is very much more. They've balanced it a lot more. It's more evenly surfaced. Lots of smooth surface. In fact, I landed on a planet once, and it was a snow planet. I thought I had to adjust the brightness on my TV because when I landed, I almost went blind. I mean, it was just white everywhere with like crevices, and then when I guess the eyes of my character adjusted a little bit, I could start to see detail. But it was just very flat.
Effect. That's a cool effect.
It was cool. It's cool. I regardless of what you might think of the game or what your experience was with the initial launch, I think that this update is be more in line of what people might have expected. And if you own the game, especially if you own it digitally, go ahead and download the update and give it another try. Get back into it and see what you think. And if you're thinking of getting into it, I'd say that, especially now that it's on sale, it's a great time to explore. It's good. And again, regardless of what or despite what you might think of Hello Games, I believe, especially with this update, I believe that they're dedicated to the game. They have their way of doing their thing. But this update, at least to me, shows that they're serious about their project, and it seems like they're going to support it for a long time. And this is, as it's named, the Foundation update. This is the groundwork for things to come. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that they will. I mean, I think that No Man's Sky is going to be one of those games where people are going to look back at in a couple of years and say, look at where it is, currently, and they're going to think it's a good game. I think that it's going to be like, well, do we really give it that bad of a rant? It's like pretty good. It's pretty good. It's a good game. It's a good game. So I think that once we get out of the current hype train and radicalization and stuff like that, Bean said in chat, I think they released early because of all the flack they received, and now that it's out, the stress has been relieved, and they can now continue to build the game they intended. Yeah, I think that's really true. And in a lot of ways, I look at gaming and gaming reactions in terms of like people being radicalized in these really extreme, like, I don't know, emotions or whatever, just kind of like the hype circus, because hype circus gets clicks and it gets people excited and it gets you back to a website and click on an ad and all these kinds of things. And I don't know, I think, again, when people chill and realize that, some things take time, and, do people always hit their first, milestones when they say they are? No. And that's probably okay. I'm sure everyone who's really condescending or, really judgmental of Hello Games would do so much better as an indie developer. So you should. And as a programmer, I recommend you become a programmer and figure out that it's a lot more complicated than you think.
Well, it's really funny to me.
It's not like baking cookies, kids. It's harder than that. I guarantee you it is harder. My job is harder than cookie baking.
What's really funny to me, too, the irony of it is, I mean, the explosion of the the vitriol and everything that followed the release of No Man's Sky.
Radicalization of gaming.
But it's such a chill game. It's such a just really chill game. It's like
right.
It'd be like I don't know what to compare it to. Like, if people,
Grand Theft Auto, right? I mean, that game maybe people aren't pissed at that game, right? They're not like freaking out.
It's like if Rez came out and everybody was just fucking pissed because it was on rails. It was just like, what is this bullshit that I can't move around freely? This is ridiculous. Right. It's just a super chill game. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, it's kind of like it's funny, and we'll move on because we got much to discuss. But so No Man's Sky is a really chill game, right? It seems like a pretty straightforward company and endured a lot of harsh criticism and stuff. Some of it warranted, some of it not, I don't think. A lot of it I don't think was warranted. And then take another game like Fez, right? Which is another chill game, which is one of the most magical games I've ever played. And when you play it, how can you feel bad? But then you have this polarizing person that made it, he's definitely... he definitely says things that upset some people, and this crazy reaction to him and stuff like that. And it's so funny because what they made was so not that way. You know what I mean? It wasn't an angry thing. It wasn't like, but this vitriol that sort of happened as a reaction to their work and them, I find to be really interesting, actually.
Do you think that's pretty much the curse of the modern developer now that we've introduced social media into every aspect of our lives, developers it's almost like if you're not keeping constant, communication with the community, then that makes you a bad business person or a bad developer. Or,
yeah.
It's like Sean Murray, he said a lot of things before the game released, which was not filtered through a PR filter.
No, it was not. It was filtered through, I'm really excited about the shit that I'm building. Yeah. I love dreaming this stuff with you. I'm going to dream it in words like, what if we put a puppy and a kitty and everything? It's going to be everything. It's so great. Yeah. It's the best thing of my life. I love what I'm doing. And then, we talked about this last episode. You know what I mean? And he loves dreaming. He's a dreamer, and that's fine. That's fine. It's
like what if Phil Fish made Fez 20 years ago when there was no social media? Would it be the biggest game of all time?
Right. Yeah. Bean says those become promises to the uninformed, and I think it's true. I mean, but think about it like this, though. I agree, Bean, but think about it like this: like you're dreaming, and someone is there, and they're riding the hype train with you, and the excitement and the feelings train, and then you dream something like, oh, that's what this is going to be. So it's locked in, right? You're locked in, right? I can see where the feeling thing would happen, where they're disappointed, and then they get together with a bunch of other people, and then they take those missed feelings, and then they turn into something a lot worse. But I think you're right, Script. I don't think it would, because think about it like this: when we played like a game that I don't think landed perfect back in the day, like on the original NES, right? And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? That game was I could never beat that game. I was like, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to beat Ninja Turtles. It was punished as brutal, so brutal. Or Battletoads. Who the fuck beat Battletoads, right? That game is too hard, okay? No one, destroyed those companies for it. There was no people, there was no, was that a promise broken? If, a kid buys your game, can't beat it, you tell kids that they can beat your game? Probably, I guess.
Maybe there was a lot of things said on those hotlines. Remember the
the game hit lines.
Yeah, the hit lines.
You tell the people that made Battletoads they should kill themselves. I don't remember thinking about saying that shit in the 90s, but maybe some people did. I never did. I'm going to spend $5 to tell someone that I'm really pissed at them by calling 1-800 help me beat this game. Yeah, it's funny.
Exactly. Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely weird. I don't know. It's weird because I don't know how or if we can move back from that. Once you've opened the box, it's like how do you step back?
Well, we talked about this pre-show just before we were filming the show. We talked about bubbles and online bubbles and how I think that the internet isn't really bringing different people groups together. Well, sometimes it does, but I think it's really good about creating communities of echo chambers. You know what I mean? And these bubbles where things seem huge, but they're not. And this sort of hype kind of thing in there. And so I don't know. I think it can get better, but I think it requires someone stepping out. For instance, I consider myself an observer to the No Man's Sky hype rage spiral, right? I'm not going to take part in that. So I think that if you think about yourself more as I'm a part of video gaming because I play games and I run a video game site or whatever, but I'm observing this community behavior. I'm not knee deep in it, right? To use a Doom metaphor, I guess. I'm just observing it, and I can understand where people are coming from, but I'm not going to be in that. I'm not going to swim in it. You know what I mean? I'm just going to understand it. That's kind of how I try to look at it. But I don't. But yeah, you can't avoid it. It's by not swimming in it, you know? So,
yeah.
Anyways, Nintendo's coming out with Super Mario Run on iOS and hopefully Android soon. Sorry, Android people. I really wish people would do all of the systems at once. They've released that Super Mario Run's going to be $9.99 when it launches. Although you'll be able to download it for free, get a little bit for free, and then you got to pay, $10 to unlock the full game. Question: is $10 too much for a phone game? Script, what do you think?
I think it used to be, but I don't think it's too much anymore. I don't know. It's all a matter of, maybe I'd have to play the game. Maybe I didn't know that the first few bits of it were free.
Yep.
Maybe if, I don't know.
It's like a demo and then they lock, the content after that.
Value for that kind of stuff is so weird. Like Square Enix puts out a lot of games on iOS devices or mobile devices, and they're like, they start at $10 and go to like $20 or whatever.
Yep.
And so, but then you've got other like massive hits that are in the $5 range, and then you've got a lot that are free to play, and then you pay to disable ads or whatever. It's all, the spectrum is just so all over the place that it's hard to I mean, when you're
but we would agree
the
expectation seems to be on mobile that games are free or so cheap it's free, right? So
yeah, I guess. But
you're right that there are some people like Romancer 3 Kingdoms is on iOS and that's not, it's like $15, and like Final Fantasy 6 is like 20 or whatever. So they'll release the old Final Fantasy games and then some new ones, and then those are kind of a lot. So there is precedent for having games cost a lot on there. And Bean just said, I would rather they didn't release it on Android as an Android user. It's probably because you don't want to play a bunch of it, or I'm curious. But I think it means because he doesn't want to get addicted to it, probably. But yeah, I
don't know.
Do you think so? For you, do you think for you, if it was a good game, would you buy it for $10 with a clear conscience?
I guess, yeah. I mean, we were talking about this again a little before we went live. Portable games, or you can't get portable games for
DS or whatever,
$10. DS or whatever the portable
unless it's
systems
used
are.
in a bin or something.
Right, most of them are $20 to $40, and whether or not it's a more of a rich experience. And that is maybe regardless if you're playing the same loop over and over. If it's the thing with Mario Run,
I would argue Hearthstone is just as rich experience as any game you're going to get on the DS.
Sure.
So some games can be, for sure. Sword and Sorcery, I would argue, is a really good game for mobile too. So just as rich as any other DS game for the most part. So.
But do you think that Nintendo is just capitalizing on the fact that they're Nintendo and this is a Mario game?
Hell yes! Yeah, man. Do you think that super slick Mario brand isn't going to sell a shitload of games? Absolutely.
Sure.
100%. This is like, 100%. Totally. And is that the only reason why I'm considering doing it? But think about this, though. Nintendo doesn't charge $0 for their stuff. They're not a bargain bin gaming company, right? Some are, right? They're not. And so the value prospect is a little bit higher. So Nintendo could say $10, suckers, and people would be like, I love you, Miyamoto, right?
But Miyamoto, was free, wasn't it? I mean, there's
Miitomo is free, but that's like a social app, right? So Bean says $9.99 for an endless runner, though. So exactly. I'm not convinced okay, so it could be, I think there will be an endless running mode, but then they might have like regular modes. And I think that's a good point. Like, I'll admit, like, I haven't played endless runners that I thought were any good, really. Like 4 seconds at most. So I expect that for $10, if I play it for 10 hours or 5 hours, then it would be worth it. So that's my expectation. If Nintendo doesn't hit it when I pay it, because I'll probably buy it, I will probably not give it a great review. Not like that'll matter because they'll have sold a bajillion copies of it by then. But like, I'll save that one person from buying the game.
If they do something unique with it, but yeah, $10. like $5 maybe, even if they did something unique with it. I think of games like I with Endless Runners, like Cannibalt. I don't know if you ever played Cannibalt. I played the shit out of that.
A little bit.
Jetpack Joyride. That's basically Endless Runner. I played the shit out of that. Sure. But that was a little, you basically got some semblance of a quest system, and you're building towards something, you're unlocking things, and there's something more than just running for points, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, and my expectation is that Nintendo is should, because it's Nintendo, should be elevating the Endless Runner genre. Like, if this isn't the best Endless Runner you've ever played, they screwed up bad.
That's such a weird concept, though. Like,
what do you mean?
Elevating the Endless Runner genre? No, I know, but like, who? And Endless Runner as a genre, it sounds ridiculous. Okay, well, the fact that we need to elevate a ridiculous concept is like
okay. But look, Endless Runner. Okay, you're right. The whole idea of an Endless Runner is kind of ridiculous because it's like you can only do so much that doesn't suck on a phone, and tapping doesn't suck, and jumping is the thing you can do, right? Okay. But it seems pretty natural for Mario because Mario jumps, right? You don't want to have like the arrow controller, and that probably sucks. And they've got mechanics in it that make it look pretty compelling for a Mario game that makes it play and feel like it's not just an Endless Runner. So if Nintendo actually ships something that doesn't feel like it's a cheeseball Endless Runner that is boring and sucks, then it will be worth $10. If Nintendo releases a cheeseball Endless Runner that is boring and sucks with Code of Mario paint on it, wow, they screwed up. So that's what I mean by they have to elevate it, right? Because, and I know it sounds ridiculous, and maybe I'm using way too many buzzwords or something, but like they kind of have to make it the best, because if it's not, then they really wasted their time and everyone else's time, right?
Yeah, I guess. But like you said, it's gonna make a shit ton of money regardless.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna totally buy it.
Yeah,
because it looks good, but it's not because like Mario, I will buy whatever you shovel. Yeah, because I didn't buy a Wii U or whatever. I don't buy everything they release, but it looks good. It looks good, because frankly, there aren't a lot of good. I would say I really haven't played an Endless Runner that I really liked. This one looks good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and maybe it's the same. Like I'm bagging on Endless Runners, but I mean it's
not the greatest genre of gaming.
I'm thinking back of old arcade games and old like Atari console games, and they were essentially Endless Runners. I mean, like Pitfall. Pitfall was an Endless Runner.
I was thinking Pitfall too, but I would say no. I would disagree because Pitfall. One thing about Endless Runners though is it's like procedurally generated, and that's one of the things I don't, because it doesn't feel like you're playing anything when it's for me. I don't think they're procedurally generated games most of the time make it feel like you're playing anything. It makes you feel like you're, I don't know, like looping. Which that's not fun. Like just the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
Pitfall actual. I don't believe it was random. If I seem to remember, I believe it was like set up platforming. Like I don't think it was a loop and randomly procedurally generated or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
I had it on Atari. I don't remember that it was different every time.
No, it was. I believe there was a pattern, but I don't know.
Well, they may have had patterns or whatever. Anyways, so you're right. And I look at it in the same way they look at Pitfall. When I played a lot of Pitfall, so if it's as good as Pitfall, then yay.
But even games like Pac-Man or Galaga or whatever, I mean, it's all, you're repeating the same thing over and over, progressively harder until you get to, whatever, or just ad nauseum. Mm-hmm. I mean, you just, it's not like you're doing anything more than just trying to achieve a score. And so
yeah, because I don't give a crap about a high score in Super Mario Run. Like I don't care about that. What I'm looking for is, I really hope there's some of the things I like about Mario games, like Mario 3, you have an overworld, there's a sense of progression, the levels are different. You enter like the snow world, or you enter the wherever the level where everyone's really big, or you enter the desert. So if Super Mario Run can do that, you know what I mean? Where there's some progression, there's an overworld map, you can make it through the level, there's some design elements there, it's not just random trash to kill your time, then they've won. Then that's a proper Mario game. If they just do random levels, I'm going to not review it pretty well. Not like I can ask for a refund because you can't do that on iOS. But I'll frown, and boy, will they feel that all the way in Japan.
They will. They'll feel it.
They won't. They don't care. All right, which is fine, because I usually like what they do. All right, so I think the answer for me is yeah, if it's good, and the answer for you is yeah, if it's good.
It's good.
Cool.
I mean, I don't know. I don't play
Problem solved.
I don't play mobile really. Like I was trying to find something to play on mobile, and I ended up going through my old purchases from when I first got an iPod Touch.
Oh yeah. So Pac-Man, when you got the iPod Touch, because they had that.
No.
Oh no, that was on the original iPod. You had Pac-Man on the original iPod. You could play games on.
Yeah.
The iPod
I tell you what it is. It's this old game called Mr. Ah. I don't even know.
I never heard
but
of that.
it's basically an endless runner, except you're swinging from platform to platform, and you're trying to land in the center of the platform for maximum points, and you're getting points. So I guess I'm a huge hypocrite. So whatever.
Did you pay $10 for it?
I paid $30 for it. It was a premium title.
That's awesome. That guy retired at 20. It was good for him. Good for him.
No, I think it was like $2. I don't know, whatever.
So, hold on. The player must maneuver a character Pitfall Harry through a maze-like jungle in an attempt to recover 3 huge treasures in a 20-minute time period. Okay,
I do not remember that being an objective.
That was the goal in Pitfall. You know what? I never knew that was the goal when I played it, so that's probably why I lost every time. So it clearly had a defined goal. Yeah, and Super Mario Run better have one. It better have one, because if it doesn't, what's the point? What's the point? I like having a goal, right?
I need to go back and play Pitfall. I had no idea that was the objective of Pitfall.
You got to do 32 treasures in 20 minutes. That's like a couple treasures in like less than a minute. Like I don't even. Okay, whatever. Cool. I got to go back to that game apparently, because that sounds hard.
When I played Pitfall, I always hoped that there was some big thing at the end. Like like if I kept going far enough, I would find the ancient city and be able to.
I'm in Atlantis. It's happening. That's funny. So in the next episode of the Cheerful Ghost Roundtable, we're going to be talking about Star Wars Rogue One. So I got my tickets already for December 15th. So being surprised if you ever hit 4 treasures in Pitfall. I didn't even know. I didn't even remember you could collect treasures. So anyways, the next episode we're going to be doing our Star Wars Rogue One review. So if you want to take part in the fun, I recommend you watch it ahead of time. We're going to be doing the episode a couple days after. We're trying to work out the date right now. I'll post that on the site. And we will have a spoiler-free review at the beginning. And then we're going to spoil the S out of the movie, the rest of it. Spoiler alert, they're making a Death Star in it. So, and the Death Star gets built. Whoa! I just wrecked the movie. I wrecked it for you.
And they don't blow it up.
not in the movie.
This is the one Death Star that does not get blown up.
Get blown up, right. It gets built, which is totally different than any other Star. Well, I guess they had the Death Star getting built in Jedi. But anyways, I digress. That's what we're going to do in the next roundtable episode. We'll talk a little bit about gaming too, what we've been playing, what we've been watching. Script, I wanted to start out and ask you a couple questions, sort of pre-game, pre-show for the next episode. What do you hope Rogue One's going to be for you? Like, quickly, briefly, what would you want it to be for you? We haven't seen it yet. We saw trailers. We don't know what it's going to be. What would you want it to be?
Okay.
The kind of movie you want.
I want Rogue One to feel like Interstellar without the cheesy BS at the end.
Okay. I don't know, man. Matthew McConaughey and getting together with Catwoman sounds good on Mars or wherever the hell they're at. That sounds good to me. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's fine. No, I meant the Tesseract love bullshit.
Oh, right.
And he was screaming at the bookshelf.
Listen, when you're really high, like Christopher and Jonathan Nolan, and you're like, "It's love, man," and it makes sense.
Yeah. No, I'm not opposed to the concept.
Okay.
So anyway, the gravity of Interstellar, no pun intended.
Yeah.
The camaraderie of Firefly.
Oh yeah, damn, that was good show.
And the gameplay of Battlefield 4.
Okay, so I don't understand that reference at all because I've never played that game, but I bet it's a good gameplay. But it's good. Oh, you just mean like war game, like that good war movie.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It just looks epic. It looks very. It looks like a war movie. I mean, it looks like
it so does. But what Gareth Edwards does really well, which is scale. The movie looks, the scale looks incredible, and we don't really get. Maybe Empire, we had scale that was pretty impressive, but not. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Gareth Edwards does scale like big. Wow, he does it so well.
I'm excited. I'm excited for all those.
So give it a pre-rating. Rate it now. We're going to come back in the next episode. You'll be able to pair it up to what you rated it now. What do you think it's going to be? Like out of 10, what do you give it?
9.
So no pressure, Gareth. No pressure at all. A 9 out of 10.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to do better than episode 7.
You think it's going to be better or do more sales than episode 7?
More sales than episode 7.
No shit, really?
Yeah, I think so. If only just because Darth Vader's in it. I think. Serious. Like,
I think Lord Vader's in the movie.
I think that it will. I think that it'll be a better story. I think it'll be more. I think it'll be more in line of what people wanted in a Star Wars movie before Episode 7 came out. Not that I have anything against Episode 7.
I thought it was good. It had flaws. We discussed that in our review, though. Yeah.
But this is more of a step away from the way I think any Star Wars movie has been made.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
There's no Star Wars crawl in the beginning. There's no like dun 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 dun. There's no like Nope, none of that. They talked about it. That's a different thing. They're not doing the Star Wars crawl in the beginning. It's going to be familiar. According to Michael Giacchino, who's doing the score, was Alexandre Desplat before, but now it's Giacchino. And he talked about that. They don't have the Star Wars fanfare in the beginning, but it's very reminiscent. It's doing its own thing. So
cool. I'm excited.
Yeah. Okay, so what I want it to be, I want it to be everything that the trailer makes it out to be. 9 out of 10, awesome. I want it to be everything the trailer's making it out to be. Watch the trailers. It looks like it's a war movie with scale that's a little more frowns than smiles, so it's a little darker. It's a little bit more. It looks like there's more tension. It looks like the stakes are higher. If you watch the original Star Wars movies, maybe the times in the movies where the stakes seem high, where it seems like there's some threat, is Empire maybe at the end, and a little bit in Return of the Jedi when the Emperor is menacing Luke and just like, you're gonna die, everything's trashed, I'm gonna wreck your life, I'm gonna destroy the universe. And Luke kind of believes him for a second. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, like your friends are gonna die, everything's gonna die, I'm gonna destroy everything. And you kind of believe him for a minute there, and there's some threat and some dread there. But that's kind of what we're gonna get in this movie. But it looks like it's got some fun Star Wars stuff. They're going to add some really cool elements to it. So I hope that it's everything it's making itself out to be, right? Because we've all seen trailers where the movie it's not that, you know what I mean? So if they make that movie, then I'll really like it. And I'm going to hedge a little bit on this one. I'm going to say it's going to be an 8 out of 10 for me.
Whoa.
Okay.
I feel bad now. Should I go 7?
No, I like where you went with 9. I like that. It's hedging, and I don't know if that's fair. I want it to be a 9 out of 10, but I believe it's going to be an 8 out of 10 because, and I think this is overblown, but people have been talking about reshoots and Gareth Edwards being involved in reshoots and all this blah blah blah, and Disney maybe didn't hit Disney's quality standards, and I don't know how much of this is made up internet BS hype bubble garbage that we talked about earlier, you know what I mean? And just like made up news for clicks and stuff, or how much, or just people trying to hype things to, get clicks and stuff. Yeah. I think Gareth Edwards is a fantastic director. I think people involved are really good. I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be great, but I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. If it exceeds that, if I give it an 9 out of 10, I'll just dump my review and say, whatever. But yeah. I'm super excited for this, and for the reasons that you say, it's not going to be continuation of the main stories. It's going to do its own thing. Now they just cast Han Solo and Lando, and they for the Han Solo spinoff movie. It looks interesting, so hopefully it'll be good. But I just hope that it's everything it claims to be. That's really all I want, because it looks really good. So
what would be really awesome is if they had Billy D. Williams come in, like through a portal from an alternate dimension.
Right. No. What they should do is Billy D. Williams.
Basically, they should.
Billy D. Williams has some red matter. Okay.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
Goes back in time with some red matter, and then there's this person that's trying to capture him. And anyways, yeah. What actually would be really cool for the Han Solo movie is if they get Harrison Ford and Billy D. Williams in an old folks home. You know what I mean? They like age them a bunch. They don't have to do too much because they're already kind of old now. But like, and they're just like, hey, you remember the time when we did that crazy shit? And it's like, I remember. And
so
it's like,
it's basically like The Notebook, but
yeah,
but a Star Wars film.
Exactly. They're just like in an old folks home in the stars. You know, that would be amazing. That would be awesome. I would love that. I would love it.
Just a Star Wars reskin of The Notebook.
Yeah, whatever. That's really cool. Well, I feel like there's a new sci-fi film that's kind of like a sci-fi love story, which I've been kind of wanting one. Just like seems like, what is it? It's with Jennifer Lawrence and
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt, right? Star-Lord. I don't remember what it's called. Anyways. I forget the name of what it's called. Anyways, but that, whatever, like Love in Space or whatever, they're both like on a space, traveling to like some planet, and they wake up at the same time, and they're like, oh, fancy meeting you in the spaceship, and they hang out, and they share space food or something, and then there's probably an anti-gravity scene where they're like floating around, and then they kiss. And so, I mean, I'm just imagining, this movie.
It's called Passenger.
Passenger, right? Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Like,
looks phenomenal.
Love story in space, Like,
yep. I hear it's basically The Notebook.
In space. Well, we could all be so lucky, because I try to find movies that I can go take my wife to, and if there's kind of a love story, I'll get her to come. She'll go see everything Star Wars, so that's really good. We've already got our tickets for that. But
has she seen
more reasons? Has
she seen The Notebook?
Yeah, dude. Of course, we both have.
Oh, okay.
Come on. Jesus, Gosling, man. Gosling.
I know. I know.
All right, so thanks for joining us for the Cheerful Ghost Roundtable. The Cheerful Ghost Roundtable is an open discussion with people from the Cheerful Ghost community about awesome stuff in video games, brought to you by cheerfulghost.com. And so, Script, where can people find more of you online as the show ends?
I'm on Twitter at Subverity. At Subverity on Twitter. That's probably the best place to find me, I guess. Yeah, I'm of all the social media things, that's the only place I keep up with. I have a Tumblr, but I don't spend much time. I tried to get back on Facebook. I think I made one post, and I was like, "Fuck it." I hate Facebook. I just can't bring myself to it. So I apologize.
Zuckerberg doesn't need your apologies. I think last quarter they made like $6 billion. You're fine. You don't need to go there, and he can still be richer than God. Okay. So people can find me at cheerfulghost.com/JDodson, or at Twitter at JDodson, or an email address that I'm not going to give you. You can totally contact me there. But anyways, thanks for joining us for this episode of the Cheerful Ghost Roundtable. Make sure you check us out next time for our review of Star Wars Rogue One. All right, everyone, have a good day.